Robin Dunbar.
Yep, that's right, Carl.
Handshake, sir. Right there. We are filming this a day after PDAC, so a little bit of a rest, just maybe a sleep.
Yep.
And so you're the president, CEO, and director of Grid Metals Corp.
Yes.
How was PDAC for you?
As I always say, 25,000 of your closest friends all in one spot. But you know, the good news is there's people from all over the world, and chance to connect with our shareholders and you know, people in the business, and you know, companies that we want to do business with, and yeah, so it was great.
You were telling me a story about this gentleman that wants you to stop by in Portugal.
Yeah, you know, it's you know, we have been approached by a lot of companies, like, you know, lithium companies that are looking at you know, finding supplies of spodumene concentrate and to be used in plants that make the precursor battery materials. So like lithium hydroxide, for example. So that was an example, as a Portuguese company that's got a joint venture, and they want to supply battery materials to Europe, and so they're here in PDAC. They were looking for junior companies that might produce lithium concentrates in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with your experience. What, I think you have a finance background.
I do. Yeah.
Do you want to kind of?
Yeah, I did a master's degree at Dalhousie in marketing and finance, and then I worked in the banking industry for 20 years, and then got into the exploration business around 2000. So I've been doing it for over 20 years now, and yeah, it's I've been, you know, with Grid for a long time. I've worked for other companies as a director. I've done some consulting, so you know, I've had pretty varied experience in the business. And, yeah, so it's a very, very dynamic and entrepreneurial and exciting business, so I like it. Yeah.
And the technical team?
Yeah, technical team is headed up by Dave Peck. Dave is a PhD. He's worked for majors and smaller companies, and he's really a nickel PGM guy. Kerry Galischuk is our VP Exploration for lithium. Kerry's an experienced lithium geologist, had worked for the Tanko mine in Manitoba. So, and then we have a local, very importantly, we have a local exploration team in southeast Manitoba. Yeah. And you know, most of the guys live there and just commute into the site for the work they're doing. Yeah.
How much money is in the treasury right now?
Yeah, we got about $9 million in the treasury. You know, we're just finishing up our drilling program, so when that's done, we'll have about $8 million, and yeah, so we're going to get our results from all our drilling, and then assess and look at what we're going to do next. But yeah.
And the last financing you did, that was with a strategic group out of Perth?
Yeah, it was. It was a group that's headed up by it's an exempt dealer down in Perth called Churchill, and they brought in a number of industry players, including Primero Engineering, which is a process engineer. That means that they design plants and circuits for lithium and nickel. They're a large engineering firm, and then a private equity group that operates some mines, AMCI group, and then some other investors from West Australia. So, yeah.
And what valuation was that done at?
The stock was around 12 cents at the time.
Okay.
And we raised $8.5 million. Some of the money we did converted it by way of charity flow through. So we raised it at 20 cents.
Yeah.
So we got a good premium on that. Yeah.
Sure.
So, but we brought that. You know, we've used that money. We're drilling off our resource in lithium. So we're just finishing that in the next week or so, and we'll have enough drill density to conduct initial resource on our lithium property, which is exciting because we've done that in just over a year. And you know, if we don't have the largest, we'll have the second largest lithium resource in Manitoba. And you know, there are not that many juniors in Canada that have lithium resources, so yeah, that'll be a good milestone for us.
Cautionary, forward-looking statements, of course.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think we haven't done it yet, so there's always the risk that something will go wrong. But I mean, we're pretty comfortable that that's going to work out, and we don't know the size of the resource, but we've been working with geological consultants along the way, and it's not our first resource, so we'll see where that comes in, but we're optimistic it'll be a meaningful number.
One of my key takeaways myself from PDAC was that lithium is the hottest space to be in right now in mining.
Yeah.
I'd say nickel is behind that.
Yep.
I personally love nickel myself. I know
Yep.
it's very hard to find.
Yep.
There's 2 tiers to it. And I probably know more about nickel than I do lithium. But
Sure.
lithium is traders are trading these stocks right now.
I'm very confident. We have a really good plan, and we're looking at growing the business in a manner that it'll really amount to something.
Right.
So that's our focus, and I think there's lots of people following us, and it's like we need a bit of a catalyst to get going, and I've seen the markets come and go.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get over that sooner than later. And we're not going to the market to raise money right away, and we're looking for people who have an investment horizon of
Years.
not years and not weeks. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want someone someone's going to buy some shares and hold on to it for a while.
that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to the $8 million that you have, I know you're waiting on some results. That's going to play a big part in your go-forward plan with that
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
But in other ways, what do you already have in your plans to use that money for?
Well, we need to do the resource calculation. We're doing a resource calculation for our nickel as well, and that's hopefully coming in the next number of weeks or months. That's in the process. But for the broad brush plans on our lithium business is that we want to calculate a resource, get a resource, and the way that we're trying to get it differentiate ourselves is to get into production early by means of a toll milling agreement with a company called Tanco. So Canada's only lithium producer is the Tanco mine, which is literally next door to us in Manitoba.
Right.
And they're building a new mill, and they've stated that they need more ore from surrounding sources, and so we've signed a memorandum of understanding with them, and are working out the details to supply them ore. So this means we don't have to build our own plant.
They're going to invest with you and share in profit?
We will mine. We will put it through the processing plant, and then we sell it into the market and split the profits.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that saves us number one, time, and number two, the cost and capital cost of building a concentrator, which is probably $150 to $200 million, something like that, and takes longer.
Yeah.
So that's our immediate plan, and then to do that we need to get our project permitted. So there's a 2-step process for that, and it's not a lot of money, but it's time and effort for baseline environmental work, which you have to go out and spend a year in the field and get the environmental baseline work, and we've done that, but we're continuing to do more. And then the first permit is an advanced exploration permit, and we've spent most of the money on that, and actually we're pretty close to being able to submit that to the government. So that's our focus, is to get a resource and a mining permit for that project, and the timing. We're hoping we might actually get a mining permit sometime in 2024, which would be really fast.
So would you say Manitoba is a good province to work with when it comes to mining?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, they've got a long history of mining in the province, and there's a good permitting regime, and good where we are. We're about an hour and a half from Winnipeg. It's a good infrastructure. The key, I think, in my view, is really to have the First Nations on side with you and supporting what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And because that's very, very important these days in Canada, and is really key to getting your project permitted. So that's a priority for us.
And who's on your staff that's sort of connecting the two?
We all share in it at a certain extent. We have a direct relationship with the band that we deal with is the Saugeen First Nation, and so I deal with the chief directly, and some of our staff do, and we have two of the members of the community that work for us full time at site. So and they have legal representation, and we have our consultants. So there's lots of points of contact, and the key is communication and keeping them posted on what we're doing.
Transparent.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about the structure of the deposit itself and the dikes? Yeah.
So it's two called LCT dikes. So they're very importantly, they're spodumene, which is a mineral that has up to 8% lithium, and so these are basically vertical, structures that are very continuous. They're around 4 to 5 meters true width, and they're high grade. And we've drilled the one over a strike length of about 800 meters and down to about 350 meters. And the other's a little bit, it's 600 meters, and we'll drill that down to about the same depth. And what we're finding is when we're in that, I call it the core area of these things, it's so continuous that we literally have not missed in any hole. Sometimes it's narrower, but it's very continuous. So that gives us confidence that we're going to be able to get a decent resource out of this.
Yeah.
And then in terms of mining, like there could be some that will be open pit, maybe 1.5 million to 2 million tons we're estimating. But to mine most of that, it'd have to be underground. But so what you want in underground mining is a vertical structure and continuous, and that's what we have. And then the white, the rock that you're mining is white, and the surrounding rock is black. So that's another good key visual for when you're mining. And so we think these are going to be but these will become ore bodies, and because of their nature, they'll be able to be mined underground. So, it's a really good start for us. And then, we have quite a big land position, and we're expanding the search and are trying to find more, of these pegmatite dikes that have lithium in them. And there's definitely a lot in the area.
When it comes to infrastructure, how far off a road? You got hydro?
Yeah, it's for the Donner Lake lithium property. There's a provincial highway till about 10 kilometers away, and then there's the area was logged previously, so there's logging roads in. So you can, last time I went out there, I drove a rental car almost to the drill.
Really?
Yeah. So it's pretty accessible. They haven't got power in to the site yet, but it's fairly close, so it's not going to be a huge expense, and then it's close enough to population centers that people can commute out there.
Mm-hmm.
So people who work in Tanco, a lot of them live in Lac-du-Bonnet, which is the closest town.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a mining community there. So it's actually, and at site there's some cottages on the lakes, about 5 kilometers away. I think there's 6 cabins there, but basically there's no people around. Right. So it's a really good place for a project. So you got good infrastructure, no people. In our case, we have Tanco has certain rights to, when we go to sell a product, that they can buy it at the market rates. So if we sell ore, they can buy ore. If we want to process it into a spodumene concentrate and we go to sell it, they have the right to buy that at commercial market rates. Yeah. If they don't want it, we can sell it to somebody else. But that's only on part of the property. What we're really seeing is there's a chain, right? So you go or spodumene concentrate, which is a precursor that goes into hydroxide, which then goes into batteries, and then the batteries go into vehicles. So all the way down to the auto manufacturers, and that's the primary use going forward for lithium.
Yeah.
The various stages along the way are trying to get their hands on lithium spodumene concentrate, and that's what's in short supply right now. And so we're seeing inquiries from all levels, particularly the battery manufacturers, who some of them are investing in these hydroxide conversion plants, are really chemical plants.
Yeah.
So, but they want to see, okay, how long are you from being able to provide the product? How much can you provide? When, that type of thing. And so pretty much every project you've seen around the world that's been developed, there's some kind of offtake agreement to finance it.
Yeah. Okay. And you want to talk a little bit about the nickel?
Sure. Yeah. So our Makwa Mayville project, we've got a National Instrument 43101 resource there of about 40 million tons in 2 open pits, and we think the secret to that project is going to expand the project so it's bigger, that we can have a longer life and run it at slightly larger run rate.
So you got to explore it.
So we're exploring. So we're doing a new resource calculation now, and we're hopeful that we'll expand it. We're looking at some acquisitions in the area of more ground for more exploration. There's a couple properties in the area that look like they could be good add-ons for us. So that's our main plan is expand that project, get 200,000 tons of contained nickel in it, and our deposits also have copper and PGMs and cobalt.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're at a really good start. We have significant resources, and we've done a lot of metallurgy and that type of thing. So we're using a very standard processing, flotation, which they've used in Canada for 100 years. So this, it's moderate grade. It's not. There's some bigger low grade deposits, and so this is kind of a in the middle type deposit. There's a deposit in Scandinavia called the Kavitsa project, which has been very, very successful for a company, Boliden. It's a polymetallic, similar to what we have in terms of the grade, and that's kind of the model that we're trying to emulate.
Are you over or just below 1%?
It's below 1%. So it is the Makwa is about 0.6 nickel,
okay, plus
some other credits, and the Mayville is a copper nickel. So that's nickel is 0.2, and the copper is 0.4, and then there's PGMs in both of them.
Okay.
So we do it by NSR value. So once you process it and sell it to the smelter, how much they pay you,
right,
and so the value in the net smelter return value is about $65 to $70 on average for those 2 deposits, which is not bad.
The nearest smelter is
probably Sudbury, yeah, and
okay,
Quebec for copper.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Sudbury's not too far.
Yeah, the belt they produced there back in 1972, and they sent the nickel concentrate to Sudbury then, when the price of nickel was $2.50 a pound.
This $8 million you have in the bank, have you figured out how much you're going to put towards the nickel versus lithium, or are you waiting for more lithium data?
We're going to get our resource back, and we're definitely going to do on both projects. We're definitely going to do some more exploration on the nickel project. In fact, when the drills finish in a couple weeks at our lithium project there, Donner Lake, they're just going to go up to the Mayville site, which is literally 1 kilometer away, and drill some holes there. Yeah, they're right beside each other.
Okay. Anything that we haven't discussed? Anything you'd like to say to your current shareholders, or leave off on for potential new shareholders?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of value in our company. We have a real solid plan to develop a business, and we want to be one of the first movers in terms of getting into production in lithium, which I think is really, really kind of differentiating for us. And we're really optimistic about the prospects going forward, and there's a lot of value in our company in terms of metal in the ground, and we're optimistic that we can make some progress over the next year or two.
Well, the prices are good right now, so if you can get into production, there's a lot of money to be made.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right.
Let's leave it there, my friend.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah,
pleasure.
Maybe we'll catch up with you in Europe or back home here in Canada. But we wish you nothing but the best, and hopefully you get the results you're looking to get back.
Thanks very much, Carl.